What's up lads, the Holy Carney, and I'm gonna show you a CK3 video. A menace of society, a sexy Italian, Geoffrey Epsteini. And it's not this hunk of a man right here. Right lads, this is Geoffrey Epsteini. He's obviously a male, obviously, Catholic, and it's sexy Italian, from the Epsteini dynasty, of course, level 3 intrigue, temperate guy, a face that a mother can love, intelligent, loins of a sperm bank, hunchback, and a dwarf. Anyway, most of his stuff is pretty average for all, but he cannot fight for shit. Anyway, his camp is from the Falcons of the Rudder, but later, in Italy, he will change it. He's from the county of Orbello, and now, obviously, he's the Epsteini followers. Okay. Anyway, what he's doing is shit. He likes to gamble away his money to people he cannot afford. See right there, from 25 and now minus 107. Anyway, meanwhile of his journeys in Italy of being an absolute menace to society, he likes to do his absolute intrigue duties of being an absolute fucking criminal. However, this guy does whatever he does to get more money as he can, as he's a greedy little criminal who's a dwarf and a hunchback. Anyway, while he does his shit, he does more criminal activities by listening to people's conversations. Well, now he's sick because of the some Italian fucking illness.
Mamma mia!
Anyway, while he's doing his successful businesses, he goes to his camp and sees one of his tractors and says, "Oh, I need me some of that." But this dwarf player has gain. Soon after, he does further more criminal activities by burning properties, which goes quite successful. But soon after, he's got a pregnant wife. This might be a bit interesting as he does have a fat lover and a wife. But hey, we all love pigs here. Sometime later when he isn't killing people, he has a daughter. Who he sadly, imprisons her and executes her. But sometime later he's got a son, who he names Geoffrey Jr., who is like him in every single way. Anyway, he does some burglary, which doesn't go let's say not so successful, as he later on becomes imprisoned with all his gypsy followers. However, he does try and escape, which doesn't go too successful either.
Inches later, 12 seconds.
But he does have a son and later flees to Genoa, where he hopes he doesn't get imprisoned again. Out of all of this madness, he has a son called Diddy.
Ding dong.
As the old shriveled testicle of Geoffrey Epsteini, he does some, potential CEO businesses when the Crusades happen. This hunk of a man signs up and becomes a beneficiary. And he continues to do his way of life and lets people kill his wives. Yippee! Anyway, he looks at the Crusades and wonders to himself, why not? And steal something from the County of Looney. Way! Looks at the Crusades again, 2 years have gone past, boom, and is, threatened by, the Doge of Genoa, and kills someone. Hippie. And soon later, is, imprisoned. Yep. To be fair, this is not too surprising, and, he tries to escape, which doesn't really, go too well. And soon later, Geoffrey's of age, and now he tries to ransom himself, which does go successful. And, soon later, moves to Rome to flee from, being a criminal. Once again. Then this guy joins the Crusades. As he wants to commit some mass genocide. and his hippies go on the dinghies to
Faster! I gotta go fast.
invade Saudi Arabia to gain some loot for himself. Well, he is indulged by some strategic plans by his son. Yeah. Then he kamikazes his men, which does go successful. Then, probably, soon after, he, does something well and probably kills most of his men in the process. And then, 400 men, and then, boom. And, The thing is, this guy does not give up. This guy, you never back down, no what? Give up! Now, this guy is still raising his men to go to Saudi Arabia. What a menace! Then, when he's going down the stream, something happens! He's victorious! And because yes! Becomes a duke! Hippie! He disbands his men and welcomes his new home of the Middle East. Then, he's just looking around his surroundings, looking at the chaos when the Turks try to invade Jerusalem, forcing his religion onto the locals and way. Anyway, he does find out he's ruled by some Spanish little melts. Hip hip! Well, for him, he's Italian, and they're practically brothers. Where? And now these pesky Middle Easterns want to rebel, and they lose every single war. That didn't go too well for him, did it? Now, this war criminal of a dwarf is trying to declare war, which he doesn't win. And that might be a bit of a skill issue for him, because he lost, obviously, because this guy is just fucking stupid. And now he converted to the Arab culture. Hippie, and he finds out he's not legitimate, and people rebel against the Spanish kings, which, I don't know. Now he's independent, and gains more freedoms to commit more war crimes, where, let's see if this goes too well, and I don't think it does. He makes himself a commander, and he doesn't win this. He cannot win this because he's a dwarf, and his land is more sieged down by the Arabs, which at this time his land are basically screaming to be independent from a Catholic Arab. Anyway, this guy raises his men and goes straight forward to the Arabs as he knows he is going to die, and his son dies in the process. What an absolute legend. At the end of this, it gets too deep for him, and he sadly takes his life.
Right, my sexy beast, this is the end of the video. Hope you guys like and subscribe, because this took me ages.